Hello everyone, Dr. Shingo Mupfawa here and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to talk about the structure of the male reproductive system. Please note that this is a subtopic of a major topic in life sciences, human reproduction, which constitutes 41 marks of your paper 1. So, make sure you understand this topic so that you do well in your paper 1. Before we dive into this structure, let us go back to the examination guidelines. Your examiner expects you to know the structure of the male reproductive system using a diagram. And this diagram can be presented as a side view or a front view. My advice would be familiarize yourself with both views of this structure so that you are safe for the exam. Your examiner also expects you to be in a position to identify the following parts from a diagram: the testis, the epididymis, the vas deferens, the seminal vesicle, the prostate gland, the corpus gland, the penis, and the urethra. Besides identifying these parts, your examiner expects you to be in a position to provide functions for these parts. In front of us here, we have a diagram that's showing the side view of the male reproductive system. But before we look at this system in detail, let us look at a simple overview of the male reproductive system. The male reproductive system consists of a pair of testes, and this would be one of them. And the other one would be on the other side. In addition, we also have a system of tubes. And this system of tubes can be divided into 4 sections. The first section would be this one. The second section would be this one. The one that goes up, joins with the first one, and then goes up, and then comes down like this. The third section of the system of tubes would be this one. And lastly, the fourth part or the fourth section of this system of tubes would be this one that leads to the external environment. The male reproductive system consists of 3 accessory glands. The first one that we're going to identify is this one. All right, we only have one in this system. So we have this accessory gland, it's the largest of them all. Then we have this one. And please note, we have two of these in the system. Remember, it's a side view showing the side, so it shows one. The other one will be on the other side. And the third one will be this little one. All right, we also have two of these in this system. One this side and the other one on the other side. And lastly, we also have to show the organ that we have in this system. And this organ is this one, the penis. Now that we have looked at a little overview of this system, let us now look at the detailed structure of the male reproductive system. And we are going to do so by identifying the different parts that we find in this system, and then we provide the functions for the identified parts. The first part that we are going to identify is this one. The testes. It's TIS because it's one. TES when there are many. We're going to start by acknowledging or highlighting that this is the male gonad. Right? Remember, we also have female gonads. What does this male gonad do? It produces sperm cells. Or you can just say sperm. Right? So here, let me just say sperm cells. Right? It also has another function, which is the production of a hormone, which is known as the male hormone, testosterone. So we're gonna say that it produces testosterone. It's a male hormone, very important hormone. We're gonna discuss it in the other videos to come. Right, before we leave the testes, let us just acknowledge that inside these testes, we have structures that would look like this, like these ones. And these are the seminiferous tubules. And this is the actual place where the sperm cells are produced inside the testes. Right, we're not going to label this part because our examination guidelines have specified the parts that we must be in a position to identify. Next, we're going to look at this structure. We're going to identify this structure. The one that's surrounding our testes. And you can see it is accommodating the testes, meaning that it is protecting. So its function, number one, is to protect. Number two, you can see that it is loose, such that it is hanging the testes outside the body. Right? Why outside the body? Is to make sure that it maintains a temperature that is 2 degrees below the body temperature. What is the importance of this temperature that is below the body temperature? It is for the production of healthy sperm cells. The idea is to produce healthy sperm cells. Remember, these sperm cells, when deposited into the vagina, they have a journey that they're supposed to complete. They are supposed to swim up the vagina, up the uterus, and into the fallopian tubes. And there are a lot of obstacles that they would encounter there. So they need to be healthy to be in a position to do that. So let's identify this part. Now let's use a thinner pen. Okay. So we identify this part. All right. It is the scrotum. The scrotum. Okay. So the scrotum, like I said, it's made of skin. So it's a skin sac. What does it do? It protects the testes. It protects the testes. Number two, holds the testes at a temperature that is 2 degrees Celsius below the body temperature, which is usually quoted at 37 degrees Celsius. Right, this is done for the production of healthy sperm cells. Right, so healthy sperm cells have been produced, but we need to note that when these sperm cells are produced, they are immature, and therefore they need to be stored somewhere until they mature. And that is the part that we are going to look at now. All right, so we're going to look at this part. This is where our sperm cells are going to be stored until they mature. And this part, we're going to identify it as, let's use a thinner pen. Right, we're going to identify it as the epididymis. Right, like I said before, the function of the epididymis is to store sperm cells or sperm. Right, number 2 allows sperm to mature, or sperm cells to mature. Okay, now let's track now the path that is going to be followed by these sperm cells once they are mature. They're going to move from the epididymis. I need a thicker pen. They're going to move from the epididymis up this tube until they come here. Let's now identify this tube. Okay, so this tube is called the vas deferens. Or the sperm duct. But I usually encourage my learners to use vas deferens. Okay, so that's the sperm duct. The function of the sperm duct, as you have seen, is to transport. It is to transport can say transport sperm. Sperm will be referring to sperm cells. So we can say sperm or sperm cells from the epididymis to urethra, to the urethra. Okay, so our sperm cells are moving towards the urethra, right? So let's track the movement of our sperm cells. They are now here, right? And as you can see, they are close to this they are close to this accessory gland, right? So something or some fluid is going to be added to the sperm cells by this accessory gland. So now let's identify the gland. So this gland we're going to identify it as the seminal vesicle. Seminal vesicle. Right? The seminal vesicle produces or secretes a nutrient-rich fluid. And this nutrient-rich fluid, some books would say that it is rich in sugars, which when broken down would provide the sperm cells with energy to swim, energy to move. Remember, they are supposed to move from the vagina where they're deposited through the uterus into the fallopian tube where fertilization is expected to take place. And they can only do that, number one, if they're healthy, and number two, if they possess some energy. And that some of the energy is provided by the fluid that is produced by the seminal vesicle. And this fluid is known as seminal fluid. All right. So the function would be it produces seminal fluid. Right, this fluid, like I said before, is rich in sugars, so it provides the sperm. You can say sperm or you can say sperm cells with energy for swimming. They need to swim. They are mandated to swim. All right. So next, we're going to look at this large gland. But maybe before we look at it, so let's track the movement of our sperm or our sperm cells. All right, so from there, they are going to move down. All right, down. And they get there. All right. And we expect our sperm cells to get another fluid added to it. And that fluid is added by this gland. All right. So let's identify the gland. All right. So this gland is called the prostate gland. All right. So I'm going to label it this way. Okay. So this is our, let's just make it a bit smaller. Our prostate. Prostate gland. Prostate gland. Right. So our prostate gland. Right, maybe before we start talking about the prostate gland, let us talk about the vagina, where the sperm cells are deposited. The vagina has got a tendency of killing the sperm cells because it is acidic. The vagina kills, guys. So to counter this or to prevent this from happening, our prostate gland comes in, secretes an alkaline substance that would neutralize the acidity of the vagina so that our sperm cells survive. All right? So the function of the prostate gland is to produce an alkaline substance. So we're going to say that it produces an alkaline fluid, right? An alkaline fluid which neutralizes the acidity of the vagina, which would kill our sperm. We don't want our sperm to be killed. They must survive so that fertilization or successful fertilization takes place in the fallopian tubes. All right. So now let's continue tracking the movement of our sperm. Right now it gets down here. When it gets there, you can see that it is in contact with our third accessory gland, which is this one. But remember, we said we have two. The other one is on the other side. Right, so let's identify this accessory gland. This accessory gland is also going to secrete a fluid onto our sperm cells. Right? So this accessory gland is called the corpus gland. The corpus gland. The corpus gland secretes a fluid that is mucus-like, or we can say that it secretes mucus. And this mucus helps the sperm cells with movement. Remember, it's about the sperm cells. I think you have seen throughout this discussion that it is about the sperm cells being healthy, having energy, and also being able to swim. So this corpus gland is secreting mucus, right? And this mucus is going to assist the sperm cells with movement. Also, we can say that the secretions of the corpus gland also act as a pre-ejaculate fluid, which cleans and lubricates the urethra before the sperm cells come into the urethra. All right, so we're going to say that the corpus gland secretes mucus. Right, secretes or produces mucus. All right, which helps the sperm or sperm cells with movement. Right? And also we can simply say that it also secretes a fluid that cleans, a fluid that cleans and lubricate the urethra. Remember, the urethra belongs to two systems. It also belongs to the urinary system, and the urinary system secretes urine, which is then transported outside the body through the urethra. And also the urethra is also transporting the sperm cells. So it's serving two functions there. So it needs to be cleaned before our sperm cells can get into the urethra. Remember, it's about our sperm cells surviving. They have to survive. So this whole system is making sure that our sperm cells survive, and so that fertilization can be successful. All right. So we continue tracking the movement of our sperm cells, So now, maybe let me just take a thicker pen. Right, they are now moving from there. Right, but let's just pause a bit and look at this portion. Right, at that point in time, our sperm cells are no longer called sperm. Right, they now have a new name. The new name is now semen. I hope this is going to be clear. It's now semen. So at this point, after the three accessory glands have secreted their secretions on our sperm cells, the sperm cells are no longer called sperms. They are now called semen. I hope this is going. Yellow is not clear. What color must I use? Maybe this purple. Right, it's now called semen. Semen is a combination of sperm cells and the three fluids that are secreted by the three glands. That is your alkaline fluid from the prostate gland, your seminal fluid from the seminal vesicle, your mucus from the corpus gland. So we now have semen. So from this point going down, we are now talking about semen. So let's just erase that so we can continue tracking the movement of our semen. So it's now semen. Also our semen will move from there through this tube right to the external environment. So now let's identify this tube that is carrying semen now. So we're going to identify this tube. It's too thick. Let's make it a bit thinner. So we're now looking at this tube. We're going to identify it as the urethra. The urethra has got two functions. Number one, it's carrying or it's transporting semen. This system is about semen, right? And from another system, which is the urinary system, it is carrying or transporting urine. Right, out of the body. Okay. And lastly, we're gonna look at this structure. which is our penis, which is the organ in this system. This organ transfers. It transfers semen. We're now talking about semen, no longer sperm cells. Semen into the vagina of the female body. Into the vagina of the female's body. Right. There you have it. The structure of the male reproductive system. In terms of identifying the prescribed parts, as well as providing the functions for those parts. If you found this video helpful, give it a like, share it with your colleagues, comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. See you all in the next video. Bye.